On a freezing winter night in Chicago during the late 1970s, investigators stood outside an ordinary suburban home while a horrifying smell drifted through the air beneath the floorboards. Neighbors gathered silently across the street, watching. Police officers carried shovels toward the small house on Summerdale Avenue. Nobody could understand why detectives were suddenly so interested in the property belonging to a cheerful local businessman known for entertaining children as a clown at charity events and birthday parties. But hidden underneath that quiet home was one of the most terrifying secrets in American criminal history. Buried beneath the crawl space were the bodies of young men and boys stacked in darkness like forgotten objects. 33 victims had vanished into the hands of a smiling community figure who called himself Pogo the Clown. For years, John Wayne Gacy shook hands with politicians, attended neighborhood events, and made children laugh while secretly hunting victims at night. America would soon discover that one of its most disturbing serial killers had hidden behind grispant jokes and suburban respectability, while burying victims beneath the very house where he greeted neighbors each morning. John Wayne Gacy was born in Chicago in 1942 into a troubled family dominated by fear and humiliation. His father was an alcoholic whose violent temper controlled the household. Young John desperately wanted approval from the man who constantly mocked him for being overweight and weak. Those childhood experiences left deep emotional scars. As a teenager, he appeared polite but awkward, eager to please others while secretly struggling with anger and insecurity. After high school, he moved to Iowa, married, and found success managing restaurants. He joined civic groups, volunteered at events, and gained a reputation as an ambitious, hard-working businessman who loved attention and social status. But beneath the polished image, darker impulses were beginning to surface. In 1968, the carefully constructed image collapsed for the first time. Gacy was arrested and charged with sexually assaulting a teenage boy in Iowa. He was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Even behind bars, Gacy manipulated people around him so successfully that he was released after serving only 18 months. That early release would later become one of the most haunting decisions connected to the entire case. After leaving prison, Gacy returned to Chicago, determined to rebuild his life. He started a successful construction business and purchased the small suburban house on Summerdale Avenue that would later become infamous across America. To neighbors and co-workers, Gacy appeared energetic, outgoing, and generous. He hosted parties, volunteered in local political campaigns, and often dressed as Pogo the Clown for charity events and children's parties. Wearing colorful costumes and exaggerated makeup, he entertained families while creating the illusion of harmless fun. Photographs from that period remain deeply unsettling today. Children smiled beside a man who investigators would later identify as one of America's deadliest serial killers. By 1972, the murders had already begun. Most of Gacy's victims were teenage boys or young men from vulnerable backgrounds. Some were runaways. Others were searching for work or money. Gacy often approached them by offering jobs through his construction company or inviting them home under the promise of drinks or temporary employment. Inside the house, the atmosphere changed completely. He sometimes showed victims a trick involving handcuffs, pretending to demonstrate how easily he could escape from them. Once the victim was restrained, the situation turned deadly. Many victims were tortured, assaulted, and strangled before being buried beneath the crawl space under the house. The murders continued for years without detection. Families reported missing sons to police, but many cases received little attention. Gacy understood this weakness and exploited it carefully. As the victim count grew, the crawl space became overcrowded. When space eventually ran out, Gacy disposed of additional victims in nearby rivers. Despite the horror hidden beneath his home, he maintained the appearance of normal life with terrifying ease. During the day, he managed construction crews and attended community meetings. At night, he hunted victims. By late 1978, Gacy's carefully controlled world finally began collapsing. The turning point came after the disappearance of 15-year-old Robert Piest, a teenager who told his mother he planned to speak with a contractor about a job before returning home. He never came back. Witnesses soon identified the contractor as John Wayne Gacy. Unlike previous missing persons cases, investigators moved aggressively because Robert came from a stable family and vanished under suspicious circumstances. Detectives interviewed Gacy and immediately noticed unusual behavior. He appeared nervous, yet overly confident, talking excessively while attempting to charm officers. Police quickly uncovered his previous sexual assault conviction in Iowa. The discovery transformed the investigation instantly. On December 20th, police obtained a search warrant for the house on Summerdale Avenue. The search quickly turned into a nightmare. As workers dug through the earth beneath the crawl space, human remains began emerging from the darkness. One body became several. Several became dozens. Detectives realized they were uncovering one of the worst serial murder scenes in American history. Television crews gathered outside while forensic teams worked day and night recovering remains. Neighbors watched in horror as body bags emerged repeatedly from beneath the house. Eventually, investigators discovered 26 bodies buried beneath the house itself. Additional victims were recovered from nearby rivers. The final confirmed count reached 33 murders. In 1980, John Wayne Gacy stood trial in one of the most disturbing courtroom spectacles in American criminal history. His defense team argued insanity, claiming he suffered from multiple personalities and severe psychological disorders. Prosecutors countered that Gacy clearly understood right from wrong and that every murder was carefully planned. Throughout the trial, Gacy often appeared strangely calm, at times smiling and behaving arrogantly despite the horrifying testimony unfolding around him. After weeks of testimony, the jury found John Wayne Gacy guilty of murdering 33 young men and boys. The judge sentenced him to death. On May 10, 1994, John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection at Stateville Correctional Center in Illinois. Before the execution, Gacy displayed little remorse. His final words reflected the same manipulative arrogance that defined much of his life. Moments later, one of America's most infamous serial killers was pronounced dead. The story of John Wayne Gacy continues haunting America because it destroys the comforting belief that evil always looks frightening from the outside. Gacy built a public image based on friendliness, humor, and community involvement while secretly living as a predator. The clown persona became the perfect symbol of hidden terror. Clowns are traditionally associated with joy and harmless entertainment. Gacy transformed that image into something deeply unsettling by revealing how easily a painted smile could conceal unimaginable darkness. He attended parties, entertained children, shook hands with politicians, and greeted neighbors politely while bodies decomposed beneath his own home. That horrifying contradiction is what continues terrifying people around the world. The real horror of John Wayne Gacy is not simply the number of victims. It is the realization that monstrous evil can sometimes wear the face of ordinary respectability. Behind every smile and performance as Pogo the Clown existed, a man capable of extraordinary cruelty. Beneath the makeup and friendly mask waited a predator whose secret horrors remained hidden until the smell of death finally rose from the darkness. Below his floorboards,